Broadcast live.
What's up, Vic? How you doing?
I'm all good, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
Blessed. Good to meet you too, man.
I actually never knew that you just dropped a new EP, right?
Okay.
So firstly, man, I think it's dope, you know,
Thank you.
and I wanted to ask you, between the alphabets, you know, why you had the V tape and you've got the I tape. So what is it with the alphabet? I mean, I guess V explains itself, right? Because I don't know whether you're gonna VICMENSA. You know, are we waiting for?
I don't
a
know what
connection?
happens after C, but I'm gonna go to C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna go to C? So you're not
Go C.
Oh, okay. So it's just like it's just the EP game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like I kind of am creating it as an album that's being released in smaller installments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like once I do the C tape, then I'll do a deluxe that has them all in one place with some extra records as well.
Yeah. I mean, I checked out like the energy from V to I, and V is like harder. You know, how will you have that cohesiveness throughout VIC when you get that together as a deluxe?
Working with a lot of the same producers, you know what I mean? And really just like keeping the writing on a level. I mean, the V tape was more introspective and the I tape was more external. You know what I mean? Kind of talking about things that are happening in the world more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The C tape is, I've just been having fun with it more.
There's this energy from artists in Chicago where, you know, hip hop is built on a certain kind of stereotype, you know, and with the artists from Chicago, in my view, you guys are always breaking from that stereotype.
I think Chicago definitely breaks a lot of stereotypes. Chicago just is like a trailblazing city, you know what I mean? So it's like you said, Common with his extreme consciousness, or Lupe just like, you know, being a skateboarder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Kanye wearing pink polos and, you know, putting orchestras on songs, you know what I mean? It's been in the DNA of Chicago to just like do it our own way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. You guys have this assertiveness, right? And it almost feels like the industry kind of doesn't understand you guys, and you create your own world, like you've mentioned, Kanye, the independence of chance. I mean, Common, etc. There's always that type of thing, and I was just wondering what's in the air that creates this type of assertiveness from artists from Chicago.
Chicago is a city that, differently from LA or New York, we don't grow up in a city with industry. You know what I mean? It's like when you're in LA, you see billboards for Hollywood and all the record labels all across the city. You know what I mean? New York is like, you know, flashing lights, Broadway. It's like the basis of show business. You know what I mean? Chicago is not that. So I think that, first of all, that influences us to like, you know, have a different perspective, you know what I mean? And then Chicago is just like a place of extremes, you know what I'm saying? I see some like similarities between, you know, being over here and there, because Chicago is like, you've got extreme like wealth and affluence, but then you have extreme poverty and hoods, you know what I mean? I'll be over here and I'll see like, you know, Hyde Park, and then I'll, you know, drive by shacks in the township and be like, you know, this is crazy, you know what I mean? And Chicago's kind of like that.
What inspirations are you picking up to kind of be able to balance and come from those two worlds?
I'm just a fan of music, you know what I mean? So when I was in the band, you know what I mean, it was like we were thinking more about instrumental music, you know, thinking about jazz and a lot of rock and roll music and funk music, Sly and the Family Stone to Rage Against the Machine and Miles Davis to Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's like the influences were there, you know what I mean? And many of the influences of what I'm doing right now are more like, you know, Nas and Common and, you know what I mean, Jay, and just like lyricists, you know what I'm saying?
I ask you that question. I mean, it's kind of relevant to kind of our context, because if you think about it, if I come from the hood, take for instance, I'll only listen to one type of music, and it'll always be difficult for me to kind of branch out to another type of music. So if like I'm raised on street music and I'm from that environment, literally that's what we play. So it was kind of interesting for me to kind of realize that, like, yo, as you said, you got the hip hop influences, and then you got all and you've even got like a rock album, yeah.
So I grew up like, first of all, listening to a lot of rock and roll music, but that wasn't particularly that I learned from Chicago. That was like more so in my house, in my home. I mean, my mom was like a hippie. She was into those things. And when I first started getting into music myself, I got into those things. But then through being outside and being in the city, it's like I used to do graffiti and break dance and all the hip hop shit. So I would learn about, I study hip hop from the ground up, like KRS-One and, Public Enemy and NWA. That's the shit that I studied when I was 11, 12 years old. And then I would go to the record store and I would dig for the samples that NWA used in the music, So through that, I got introduced to soul music and funk music, at the local record stores in the city. And I was with the breakdancing too, so that introduced me to some of those, where a lot of the breaks that come from like James Brown music, you know what I mean? And all those things exist in the city. So I've been digging for records since I was probably 12 years old, probably collecting records for like 15 years. And that's my experience in Chicago. Somebody else might have a completely different experience in Chicago. If they was just in their hood and they didn't really move around, and they may not be exposed to other things, you know what I'm saying? But me, from a young age, it's like when I was that age, I was painting the trains. So I would take the train from one side of the city to the other side, 12 years old, just like in all different neighborhoods in the city, spray painting on the trains. And so I got in touch and in tune with a lot of different energies and a lot of different types of people, because I was moving around so much and I was spending so much time outside.
Yeah, yeah. And you also have a huge kind of social drive and integration in the music that you create. And when is it between, how is it comfortable with who you are and your personality? You know what I mean?
I just write about the things that matter to me, It's like if you spend time with me, the conversations that I have in my life are largely conversations of importance, you know what I mean? Conversations of freedom and struggle and history and art, you know what I mean? These are the things that I rap about because these are the things I think about. I don't spend time gossiping about, who did what on Instagram or who changed their hair or took a, unfiltered photograph. Like that's not the type of shit that I, concern myself with.
Yeah.
I read a lot, you know what I mean? I don't watch a lot of TV. I'm constantly reading, just trying to learn and grow. You know what I'm saying? I like to surround myself with people who I can learn from. You know what I'm saying? And who I can grow with. So those are the things that I talk about in the music, and those are the things I do in real life, because that's the shit that matters to me.
You got a lot of people that that are locked up, yeah? It made me wonder that, like, do you feel that you escaped? Because I was listening to some of your old records, and even your skit, you always your skits, there's a part where your I think is it your pop speaking? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you've got a line in the autobiography where you talk about he was scared to get calls. Now he can't wait to get a call. How do you think you kind of were able to finesse the system, to get out of it? Because, I mean, it is tough out there.
Escape? Yeah, hell yeah.
Do you think you escaped, right? Oh, do you think, I mean, all is good. I mean, all is
good. Yeah, escape, nigga. I'm in South Africa talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in South Africa talking to you, and friends of mine who, come from the same type of background as me and made all the same motherfucking mistakes I did is sitting in prison for the next 15 years, you know? I did plenty of things that could have put me in there for decades. And I'm in South Africa talking to you, you know, so I definitely escaped. You know, when I put my pops on there talking, it's because I got in a lot of trouble as a kid and as an adult, you know? And so my pops is like, he would always be very worried about me, you know what I mean? Because he escaped too, you know? And he's the only person from his family to come, you know, to America. Not in a traditional sense of like, particularly he escaped violence, you know, because Ghana is a pretty calm place. But he escaped poverty, you know what I mean? He escaped generational poverty. And so then coming to America and, you know, being in a place like Chicago that's like as wild as it is, you know, he worried a lot, you know what I mean? And, you know, I'm blessed to be able to move freely, you know what I mean? And have autonomy and choose what I want to do today, you know? And so I try to remind myself of that and remain grateful and put that in my music and be like, you know, because really me being here talking to you, it's like I'm really living for a lot of niggas that don't have that opportunity. You know what I mean? Whether it's people that are close to me, that are locked up or just stuck in the hood, or if it's people that just resonate with me and they, you know, can kind of watch me and live vicariously through me. You know, I talk to guys all the time who's in the joint, and I send them photos when I'm in Africa and just like, you know, tell them about what I saw today, what I did today. And, you know, it's many of their biggest dream is to be on the continent. That's something I've been telling people, you know, it's like, I feel like there are a lot of misunderstandings between Black Americans and Africans. You know what I mean? And like resentments on both sides. And Black Americans, you know, have often felt like, well, Africans don't want us, they don't claim us, they don't feel like we are them. You know, and then I've heard Africans express that they feel like Black Americans look down on them or are rude or don't, you know, appreciate and respect them. And I just be telling niggas like, man, you know, I talk to these guys that are in prison in America, and their biggest fucking dream is to be in Africa. You know, we got to get past all that shit, like, because we got the same enemy, you know? We have the same people that oppress you here, oppress us there. And they want us to have misunderstanding. They want us to feel like we don't get along. It's like, yo, we're so hopelessly connected no matter what. I mean, you look exactly like a nigga from Chicago. You just speak differently. You know what I mean? Like, if you had a different accent, everybody in this room, you know what I mean? It's like, I could probably be a colored person from here. You know? It's like we are one people, you know what I mean? So I try to stress that.
So the division is not just about just like simple personality clashes. It's even economical. You know what I mean? So you don't need to come to Africa as a visitor. You could come to Africa as in, this is what I have in Africa, because I can tell you there's a global company. McDonald's literally has assets in Africa. And they're not even an African company. You know what I mean? But all the Black Americans don't have anything in Africa except to say that they go to Africa. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't...
And even that, you know what I mean? Black Americans feel like it's an impossibility oftentimes to come to Africa. You know, people are so much more likely to go to Europe, you know what I'm saying? Even when you start achieving some notoriety as an artist, you immediately get booked in Europe, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as you got some music that people are listening to, you get booked on the European festivals, get booked in England and Paris and Germany. Why is it that it would be so much more difficult to get booked in Africa? You know, the demand exists. People are listening to the music, you know what I mean? People are in tune, people are tapped in. We got to change that though.
But you see, it doesn't mean that they could be, there's a business opportunity where they could be a lack of an infrastructure, a touring infrastructure to actually do that.
I know that's definitely going on in Ghana. Is that how it is here too?
Yeah, I mean across Africa.
Right.
Now you tell me, with half the investments that are happening that we read about Americans who, whether they selling whatever they're selling, the type of money that they're making. I mean, if they had to go, even if they had to go 10, 20, 30 million to kind of throw dollars to throw in Africa to create an infrastructure for culture that they own. But obviously they got to find the right people. It changes the whole connection of culture and music coming together and being integrated here. So you could be here not because of just your own cause. You could be here because it's part of this infrastructure that's developed. So there's such a huge opportunity and so much gold here in Africa, but there's always the capital that's missing. And it's always going to be other people of other races that are putting in the capital instead of our brothers who are in the other side of the world who literally can go, okay, cool, maybe let's get ourselves educated about that investment opportunity, because it's an investment opportunity, if anything. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things out there, you know, I'm just giving you stuff to think about.
I've been thinking about it, man. I've definitely been thinking about it, and just like, you know, thinking about how to create, you know, some of those opportunities and avenues for our collaboration. I mean, even in the simpler context, obviously on the grander scale, but even in the simpler context, I know there already are venues, though. You know what I mean? There's venues, there's ways that artists, and I know artists do come through, but like more artists, you know what I mean? To not have to be the biggest artist in the world to be able to come to South Africa. You know what I mean? I feel like there are opportunities and avenues for us to be putting those plays together and, like, you know, pairing it with some type of, you know, cultural, educational component. You know, people come down here and they can have kind of things set up for them where they can go different places, and they can go to Soweto and they can go, you know, over here and over there and learn about South Africa, do the same thing in Ghana. You know what I mean? Loose ideas, but you on the same page. You see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I think that, like, truthfully, you know, these conversations need to be a little bit more formal, and we need to act upon them, right? Because you know, it's the number of people that come here where, when you guys even go back home as a collective, you start sitting together and going, yo, you saw that too? I saw a gap here. You know what I mean? So the more you kind of create that routine, right? The more you kind of like plant it, the more you build it in someone's head, and it becomes stronger that this is what we need to do. So I think if ideas like these are floating around, then people who are thinking like this need to come together, and it needs to be developed as something. You know what I mean? With proper KPIs. You know what I mean?
What's the KPI?
It's like key deliverables, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I just heard that word somewhere, but it's like key deliverables.
I get it now.
Yeah. It's like real benchmarks. We got to create real objectives and say, this is what we want to do after this time, and this is when we're going to get it, and we need to really do it. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, look, I also need to talk about coming to America. You know, I mean, I was joking earlier on, and I was saying,
I didn't see it. But my homie told me I look like I'm in the reverse of coming to America right now. So I was going to call it leaving to Africa.
Well, listen. If you haven't seen it, then you're going to miss it, though. Then you're going to miss it then if you haven't seen it.
Nah, I ain't seen it. I mean, I've seen the original, but not the new one.
Okay, it's cool. So because, you know, y'all guys are posting images on Instagram with no context, yourself and Nadia. So we saying, is the movie the motion picture of VIC MENSA and Nadia, you know? Because, you know, it is that context of an American coming to Africa, you know? So,
this is leaving to Africa. That's what we call it.
This is leaving to Oh man, that's dope. But so you talk about Ghana a lot. I mean, is Ghana the only place that you've been visiting? Obviously, your father's from there,
Yeah.
and you did a trip there earlier on this year. Was it the first time you go there, or has your father been keeping you close to the family side of that side also?
That was my fourth time. This was my fourth time going. Now I'm gonna be going much more often though. You know what I mean? A few times a year. So I should be going back in June and then probably back in December again.
Okay.
Planning to go to Benin in Nigeria. If I go to Nigeria in like December. I also want to go to Zanzibar in Kenya.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I got some traveling to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm getting up out of it. America's crazy, man. You know, I don't want to be in America all the time.
Yeah.
It's so stressful, you know what I mean? But it's funny though, because when you do leave America, you know, and you come to Africa as an American, motherfuckers also look at you crazy. Like I've been hearing, you know, like how Mos Def came over here,
Yeah.
or Lauryn Hill came over here. As soon as or Dave Chappelle came out, as soon as you go to Africa, they say you smoke crack. Like a black man can't just want to go. See, that's what's not fully grasped. It seems it's like being an American, a black man in America, black woman in America is like being a tree with no roots. You know what I mean? It's being a fish perpetually out of water.
Yeah.
A person without a home. And so I think it's fucked up that whenever niggas do leave and go to Africa, they get accused of smoking crack. Immediately.
But you see, but this is the thing though, and that's why I'm telling you this. It's because, do you know that like Africa, I don't want to talk about South Africa only, literally buys into American culture. They buy into American culture so much, right? But who is American culture?
What you mean, the black
American? Yeah, black Americans, right? Mm-hmm. So you guys literally like are the reason why the mass of Africa buys into America.
Right.
It is not the guy who owns the label. You know, it's not that billionaire it's actually the black people that we buy into, and because we see ourselves in them, right? It's just that they speak funny, and you guys also think we speak funny. So you know, so now imagine if you guys have the power of that knowledge, and you know what you could do with that power and leverage it in Africa. Yeah. So the only way you guys are not going to come here is if they make anybody who stays here for longer than 2 weeks or 3 weeks seem like they're crazy. It's an economical barrier.
That's exactly what I'm saying is that it's a setup.
Yeah, it's a setup.
It's a whole setup. As soon as you go spend some time in Africa, they say that you've lost your mind and you must be smoking crack, which is so confused because America is literally an insane place. It's so much pressure to be black in America. It's so tiresome. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, you know, black Americans are always in their spirituals, in their music, in their art, in their writing, always dreaming of, in their religion, you know what I mean? Looking for some escape, looking for some place away. If it's Christianity's promise of salvation in the afterlife, or Sun Ra talking about going to outer space, you know what I mean? Or it's Outcast, ATLians going to outer space. Black Americans are always trying to get out. In one way or another, always trying to get out. And I feel like, you know, it only makes sense to escape. Keith Murray. Africa, nigga.
You know, Keith Murray, you know, everybody trying to get out one way.
In one way or another.
You know what I mean? You can't smoke enough to get out, yeah? But you see, I think that's so let me also put it like this, right? In Africa, we will never be stopped by a white cop and be treated the way you guys are treated. You know, we will never have to teach our kids what to do when a white cop. If that happens and a white person does anything, they're gonna be in trouble, right? In this here, right? But it doesn't mean that like white people still don't have power.
Yeah.
they economically they kill us. So they kill us with our stomachs, right? So it's cool. I can tell you, you can't stop me, but he gonna go, okay, cool. I'm a cool so you'll never get hired or you not get, you know what I mean? So they kill us in our stomachs, yeah?
I know they got 90% of the wealth, same way they do over in America. The exact same situation.
And thanks for coming through though, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
You know,
man.
the EP is out. I don't know whether this was the promo of the EP or it's the promo of
I'm just here, man.
Africa,
Leaving the movie.
You know, the movie, you know what I mean? But yo, man, shout out. Thanks for coming through, man. And,
Thank you for having me, man.
Chat for long,
Great to
man.
speak to you, man.
Yes, indeed. Yo, Vic, out here, we live.
Broadcast live.